In this video, we are going to describe how to use the Livescribe Echo Smart Pen to take notes. This is the Echo Livescribe Pen Kit that you can check out from the NCSU Disability Services Office if you have the accommodation of audio recording and you wish to use pen and paper. First of all, what's in this kit is some information. We have an information sheet that we're going to go over in just a minute. And there are training guides. These are good guides. They come with the pen when you buy it from livescribe.com. Please feel free to review the information in there if you need more support after this video. There is also a charging cable, which is a micro USB charging cable, a recording headset, so it's definitely a headset that you can listen to the recording, but also on the back are microphones to make a better recording than the microphone that's on the pen. We also have extra ink for you to use if your pen ink runs dry. And then finally we have the pen and the cap that's on the bottom of the pen. It's really easy to take off. So let's go over this information sheet first. So in the information sheet is a list of equipment that came in the bag. You will use this list to gather the equipment and return it back to the Disability Services Office at the end of the loan, or if you are no longer using the pen during the semester. The second section is where you can download the Echo Desktop software. The Echo Desktop software is a great addition to this pen, so I highly encourage you to use it. It also is going to create a backup of your notes electronically, and at the end of the semester allow you to clean off all the data on your pen. When you download the software and you connect your pen, you're going to have to authorize your pen to the DSO account. So you're going to click on Use Existing Account, enter the email address disability@ncsu.edu and the password DSO7509. If you ever see any demographic information pop up that belongs to the DSO, please do not enter any of your information in the window. Over here is information about the accommodation of audio recording. You need to let your faculty member know you're going to be recording. You should have done that when you sent them your letter of accommodation. And if you've not sent your letter of accommodation yet to your faculty member, please do so using the DSO portal for students. When requested by the instructor, please sign the DSO agreement for recording lectures. This is another form that is an agreement between you and the faculty member, another layer of acknowledgement that these recordings are for your accommodation. They're for you to process the notes at your own speed, in your own way, but not to be shared, sold, or put up onto public or social media websites. The instructor may ask you to turn off the recorder temporarily when class comments or discussions are not suitable or essential. So please know that if they say off the record or no notes, pens down, you can turn this recorder off and it'll be fine. Just don't forget to turn it back on when the discussion continues. If you need any assistance with this accommodation or any of your other accommodations, please contact the Disability Services Office. And only, it's in yellow down here, charge this pen with a USB port on your computer. Please do not use phone chargers or anything that plugs into the wall that this USB cable will fit in. Most of the time those power adapters send too much power to the pen, and if that happens, what happens is the display will burn out on the pen. So just use the USB port on your computer. Alright, I'm going to put the guides and this information sheet back in the bag and move that out of the way so we can talk about the pen and the other accessories. So this is your Livescribe pen. You're going to turn it on with the power button, which is right here. When you turn it on, the OLED window is going to come up. You have a serial number or asset number, you have the time, and you have the battery indicator on the little screen. Beside the screen is a small hole. That is the microphone that is on the pen. You have a speaker that's on the pen. Down here you have that cap, which you can pull off. When you look at the pen, you have the ink cartridge here. It is a consumable, meaning that you will it will run dry, and what you will do is pull it out and then take your next ink cartridge that's in your bag, put it in the little hole that's down here, and tap it back into place. Be aware that even though you can't really see it very well in this video, there is a camera, an optical camera that's inside this little compartment behind the ink cartridge. That's important because that camera needs to see the dots that's embedded in the Livescribe paper that that works with this pen. So when you're holding the pen, make sure that you do not block up the window where that camera rests. Most students do not have any problems keeping their fingers clear of the window. On this end, you have the micro USB port, and that is where you can plug in the small end of the charging cable. This charges and transfers notes into your computer, and this USB end goes into your computer. This is the headphone jack. It's a standard 3.5mm jack. You're going to plug this headset all the way into it so that you can lay the microphone out on the table so that you can use it as another microphone instead of putting them in your ears. You don't put them in the ears, you put them on the table. We can unwrap these and you'll be able to do that. I'm going to take some notes here in a little bit so that you can see what that looks like. Okay, that is the hardware. So that's how the pen works. On the back of the pen is the some little stickers. Basically, if you lose your pen, it drops out of your bag. There is some information here that can be used for someone to call me, and I will look up the serial number and call you and say, hey, somebody found your pen at D.H. Hill, go by and pick it up, or I'll go pick it up and you can pick it up in the office. Alrighty, so let's talk about the Livescribe paper. The paper comes in notebooks. We use the 3 subject notebooks in the spring and the fall, and so you'll be picking up notebooks when you come in. This is a number 1, this is a number 2, a number 3 is black, and the number 4. They're all different colors and all different numbers. Why is that important? You need to pick up different numbers or different colors during the semester. You will not want to use 2 of the same number during any semester. All the dots and all the paper is specific to this notebook. So if you're writing in this notebook, it's going to record information in this notebook. If you come and open up another number 1 and start writing on page 1, it's going to go over top of your other notes that are written on page 1. You should not run out of paper if you use all 4 notebooks. I've never had anybody in a semester run out of paper, so please don't worry about that. What we do at the end of the semester is teach you how to archive your notes so that these notes come off your pen and you have all your memory back on your pen for the next semester. The paper notes inside your notebook become plain paper notes. And then there's a stored digital computer with the notes and the interactivity on your computer. So just remember to come back and get a different notebook each time you come and need more paper. The biggest thing to know about the notebook paper is that inside each notebook is a control panel. Okay, and this is the control panel right here. And there's a set of controls. Basically, there's a calculator up here, so you can take your pen with it on and tap on the number, and you'll see it come up. And tap on another number, function, and hit equals. And what will happen is you can see that the number or the math comes out on your pen. Okay, let's come back over here to your status icons. And so in the status icons, you can check the time of your pen, and it is 11:18 a.m. You can check the date, and yes, guess what? It is Saturday, and I am here in the office making this video. You have a battery icon that this is fully charged. It's going to last 6 to 8 hours. How much storage on your pen? If you tap the storage icon right here, that's going to show you that there is 1,600 megabytes roughly. If you tap it twice, you're going to get hours. So you should have 135 hours and 45 minutes to record during the semester, which should meet most of your needs. Do not press the audio setting button and do not use the software button. When it comes time to reset your time, you're going to press set time and come in here and reset your time, and you'll be good to go. Over here, if you're right-handed, you're going to tap right-handed and it's going to change your display so that you can see it. If you're left-handed, you're going to be able to read it from your left hand. I'm going to switch it back to right because I'm right-handed. You can also change the scroll speed by tapping plus on your pen, this little scroll speed box right here, or minus. Now, there is going to be nothing that you really need to see that's going to scroll across the screen, but if you want to change it, that is how you do it. The most important box in this icon in this group of display icons is the display box. So if you can see, I've tapped the display and it's gone to 95, 75% brightness, 50% brightness, 10% brightness, and off. That's just turned off your display. It has not turned off your pen. So please be aware that before you call me and tell me you've broken your pen, make sure you just didn't turn off your display. A lot of students will use that display to make their battery life last longer. The dimmer the display, the longer your battery is going to last. Down here we have the volume button, so you can turn the volume all the way up, you can turn the volume down, or you can mute the volume so that you don't hear when you're tapping around in the notebook. I'm going to turn the volume back up because I want you to be able to hear the audio when we go and make a recording in a minute. Over here are advanced audio settings. So if you're using the microphone on the headset, which is your best set of microphones, or if you're using the microphone here on the pen, I want you to use, when you go to class, every first class, the automatic setting and the medium audio quality. That is a great baseline. When you go to class, make your first recording and then listen to it. You have some ways you can change the microphone sensitivity over here to make the recording sound better, but you need to listen to it first. Don't use your eyes because acoustics in every room on campus is different. So if you listen to your recording and turn it all the way up and the recording sounds hollow or your faculty member sounds far away, next time you go to class, come back over here and tap Lecture Hall, and what that's going to do is kind of change how that microphone's picking up sound so that it takes out the echo and your faculty member sounds closer. If you listen to your recording and it's distorted or muffled, like you're on top of the microphone, the next time you go to class you will want to type conference room, and that's going to change and make that recording less distorted. Low, medium, and high, I suggest just leaving your audio recorder in medium audio quality. If you have hearing loss, you might bump it up to high. It's going to get a little bit more of the fidelity, but at the end of the day, nobody wants 2 gigabytes of lectures on their machine, on their laptop computer. And by the time you get out of here, it'll be, you know, 8 to 10 gigabytes of information. Playback latency. This is a neat feature. This feature here is turned on if when you tap in your notebook to listen to notes, your recordings are delayed. We listen to what a faculty member is saying. We then start to take notes, and the pen by its nature is recording or listening to exactly what is being spoken when you're writing. And a lot of times we're writing stuff we've already heard. So if we tap around in our notebook, we might need to rewind so that we hear that information that matches up with our writing. If you will turn this on, all it's going to do is rewind that audio 5 seconds, so it's more in line with what you heard when you wrote that note in your notebook. The menu voice and this little smart nav or nav plus over here, I don't teach these anymore. This pen is about 12 years old, and back in the day it did some interesting apps and had some games and things. They don't have the games, they don't sync up with email anymore, so there's no need to learn this. Everything you can get to as far as your settings is right here on the control panel. Okay, that's the controls. lastly, we're going to take some notes. So I want you to be aware that if you go to the first piece of writing paper, all the paper along the bottom is exactly the same, no matter what page you go to. If you take your pen and you just write your name, what it's going to do is digitize those notes. It's going to take this, it's going to transfer it as black writing. When you go to class, I want you to use the record button and record the class. And what you're going to do is tap record on the button. You're going to see that it's recording. And now you can come up and you can write slide 1 or any information that you want. This might be slide 1, and we're going to talk about dogs as pets. And there are many breeds of dogs. We're going to talk about that. So I did this so you can hear the microphone on the pen and what it sounds like. I'm going to play that for you in a minute. And right now I'm going to pause this recording, and you would hit pause if you had an instructor that needed you to not record something in the class, or if there was a class break, or if you needed to, you're doing group work and you didn't want to record that. So I have plugged in the headset, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to set it on the table right here. I usually run the cables down and just set it flat on the table. And now when I want to record again, I'm just going to come down here and tap record on the notebook. So I could do it this way too. Tap record, and that turns it back on, but we didn't hear it that time because the sound is actually coming through the headset on the table. And I'm going to make a number 2. This is going to be slide 2, and we're going to talk about cats as pets. Like it has anything to do with anything school related right now, but that's fine. You get the idea. You can write on the front, you can write on the back, you can doodle if you want, not a big deal. At the end of class, you can go down to the end of your notebook, and wherever you see a stop button, press stop, and that's going to stop the recording. Now, when you want to replay your notes, all these other controls along the bottom of your page are playback. So I can come back in here and I can tap on my writing, and we can hear what the writing is going to sound like.
Slide 1 or any information that you want. This might be
Can you hear my writing?
1, and we're going to talk about dogs as pets.
I don't like that. When we plug in the headset
on the
microphone,
and I'm going to make a number 2.
you can't hear the scratching of writing, which is
And we're
important.
going to talk about cats.
The other thing you can do is always add more notes. So if I tap on this writing,
Right. Slide 1 or any information that you want. This might be slide 1, and we're going to talk about dogs as pets. Then
so I was listening to the recording and filling in my notes with more information. Later when I come in here, what do you mean any info you want? I can tap that.
and you can write slide 1 or any information that you want.
And I
This
can
might
hear
be
that.
slide 1.
You can also come in and just write additional notes if you remember, just like you would with pen and paper. Now you can use a highlighting pen and highlight over these. You can use a different colored pen and underline, but only this pen working with this paper will actually record the lecture or the writing. Now down here at the bottom of the paper are controls. This is rewind and fast forward. It says jump. This is a bookmark. This whole system is bookmarking, so you don't really need the bookmarks. As well as the jump to position. It's the beginning of the recording, end of the recording. You can go jump anywhere in the middle of the recording if you really want to. And it's going to start playing it. Then you can change the playback speed. So if I want to make it a lot faster, I can.
About cats as pets. Like it has anything to do with anything school related right now.
I can also come in and make this
Many breeds of dogs and what it sounds
a little
like.
slower.
I'm gonna play that for you in a minute. And right now I'm going to pause this. Turn it back on, but
I'm going to bring it back to normal speed, and then volume up, volume down, and mute. So you might slow down the recording if you want to need more time to write notes. You may slow down the recording if it helps with understanding. Everybody speaks at a certain rate. Some people are harder to understand than others. So if you need to slow somebody down just for your brain to recognize it, that's fine. Some people are monotone, and you can find that by speeding them up a little bit, it may be easier to listen to the instructor as well. So that is kind of how you take notes with the Livescribe pen. It's all the details of setting up the pen. The Echo desktop software we're going to cover in a different video, but this is basically the setup and how you take notes. If you have any questions, please feel free to email me at resitton@ncsu.edu. Thank you. In this video, we are going to describe how to use the Livescribe Echo Smart Pen to take notes. This is the Echo Livescribe Pen Kit that you can check out from the NCSU Disability Services Office if you have the accommodation of audio recording and you wish to use pen and paper. First of all, what's in this kit is some information. We have an information sheet that we're going to go over in just a minute. And there are training guides. These are good guides. They come with the pen when you buy it from livescribe.com. Please feel free to review the information in there if you need more support after this video. There is also a charging cable, which is a micro USB charging cable, a recording headset, so it's definitely a headset that you can listen to the recording, but also on the back are microphones to make a better recording than the microphone that's on the pen. We also have extra ink for you to use if your pen ink runs dry. And then finally, we have the pen and the cap that's on the bottom of the pen. It's really easy to take off. So let's go over this information sheet first. So in the information sheet is a list of equipment that came in the bag. You will use this list to gather the equipment and return it back to the Disability Services Office at the end of the loan, or if you are no longer using the pen during the semester. The second section is where you can download the Echo desktop software. The Echo desktop software is a great addition to this pen, so I highly encourage you to use it. It also is going to create a backup of your notes electronically, and at the end of the semester allow you to clean off all the data on your pen. When you download the software and you connect your pen, you're going to have to authorize your pen to the DSO